Hey, my friend, I hope you're safe and well. Welcome to another episode of the show, and I'm really excited to have you here. So, on this episode, I want to share with you how you can stop being so hard on yourself, how you can stop not giving yourself the credit that you deserve, and how you can stop beating down on yourself, as some people call it. Okay? So, I want to share with you the reason this came up. So I was coaching one of my clients recently in my inner circle. So I coach a lot of people who are business owners, entrepreneurs. I coach a lot of people who are high performers, a lot of influencers, like people in, vice presidents of sales. I've coached doctors. I've coached counselors. I've coached therapists. I've coached quite a few people. So one of the things that I see continually coming up, and I'll come back to my client in a second, is it's this difficulty in acknowledging our own value or what we're actually doing and achieving, right? Because as we go to move forward, we all have some kind of dream or goal or aspiration, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you're a stay-at-home dad, whether you're working in a career, maybe you're aiming for that next level in your career, maybe you want aiming for an increase or an up level in your relationship, maybe you're looking to get better in your health, whatever, or your finances, whatever that is. You're in a mode of seeking more, right? And the thing is, whenever we get into that goal achievement mode, whenever we get into that fixated focus of looking to do something more than what we currently are doing right now, it's very easy to forget the things that we are doing. So I'll give you an idea as to how this works with my client. So we were on a coaching call on Monday, and she's a key worker at the moment. She manages people in the healthcare industry who are doing great work at the minute. I applaud them. I acknowledge these people. They're doing such amazing work helping these people and saving people. And she is also in the process of pivoting, which is why she started working with me, from going from her career into opening her own business. She wants to open her own coaching and consulting business, or coaching and counseling business, I should say. And, she really wanted to start going out there and doing her own thing instead of working for somebody else. And she was making great waves. She started in 6-week programs. She'd never ran an event before until we done some work together, and that was one of the next steps that she suggested. And she started running her own events, and then she started getting contracts or working with people around mental health and well-being. And what was happening was, over the past few months, given everything that's happening out there in the world today, she was struggling with getting into a routine of progressing in her business. Because ultimately, what's happening at this minute in time, with what's happening out there in the world, she was finding herself stuck in a rut. She was getting up in the morning, looking after the kids, getting them ready for whatever they were doing that day, getting herself ready, going to work, helping people, managing her team, looking after everyone, coming home, cleaning, and looking after the kids, getting their homeworks done, getting their studies done, and then doing more cleaning, and then ultimately going to bed. And this routine repeated and cycled over and over and over again until eventually she just had enough. And what's really interesting about this is that she got into such a low level state, like almost like a depressive state with what was happening, right? Because here's the thing, progress equals happiness. Right? Remember, Tony Robbins shared that before. Progress equals happiness. So whenever we're not progressing at the rate that we want, it's very easy to slip back into these negative states or these negative lower places of energy, right? And then what happens from there is you have negative thoughts, then you have negative feelings, then you have negative actions, and then ultimately it just leads to inaction or procrastination ultimately. So what was happening was she found herself getting really frustrated, really emotionally and not enraged, but angered by what was happening, that she just wasn't able to go out and do these things, which then crept in self-doubt, limiting beliefs, things that got crept up. And through this conversation, I had to slow things down for her, because she was so focused on everything that she wasn't doing that she wasn't focusing on what she was doing, right? This is a very interesting distinction. So I just slowed things down and just gave her some space to allow her to open up to what was happening and to experience what was happening. And then I started asking my client, okay, so tell me something. You're a key worker right now, aren't you? She says, yes. you're out there at the minute managing your team, those team of people who are looking after your clients and helping them to look after their health, their well-being, and their mind, right? And she says, yeah. So the work that you're doing is actually impacting quite a few people's lives right now, isn't it? She's like, well, yeah, I never thought about it like that. Of course you didn't, because you're so focused on what you weren't doing that you weren't focused on what you were doing. Managing and looking after your family, that's a big thing to be doing, right? That's no little achievement. See, there's quite a few people like stay-at-home mums and stay-at-home dads and people who say, oh, I didn't do anything today. Well, you have 2 kids, 3 kids, whatever it is, 1 kid. If they survive the day and they're growing and they're developing and they've got a roof over their head and they're being fed, that to me is progress, right? If you're growing their minds, if you're developing that next generation, for me that's something to be damn proud of, because not everybody is doing that and not everybody has the capacity to do that, right? And I mentioned this to my client. She's like, yeah, okay, right, yeah, I get you now. So through a series of conversations and just asking a few questions back and forth, my client had a massive epiphany that the amount of work she was doing was an achievement. And the same happened to another client of mine. She also works in the healthcare sector, who also wants to open her own coaching business. Only she wants to work with nurses and medical professionals to help them to master their mindset and their life so that they can become the best that they can be. And I think that's an amazing vision and mission. And the same thing happened to her because of everything that's happening out there in the world today. She's getting frustrated and annoyed by what's happening, that she's not able to progress. And same thing, I just said to her, look, I see you. I see the work that you are doing. You might not see it, but I see it. I see the commitment that you have to helping these people. Like this woman, this is an amazing woman. Both these clients are amazing women. They're such givers. They will put themselves at the detriment of their own well-being so that they can serve and give others. And I think that's incredible. At the same time, this is where their problems and challenges are arising from. And whenever I said to my client, I see you, I see what you're doing in your life. I see the amazing things. Yes, you may not be progressing at the rate that you want in your business, but that will come. But the most important thing is you acknowledge the actual work that you are doing. And she started crying, and I thought, wow, this is amazing, because she had epiphany. She had a realization that the work that she was doing was helping people, same as my first client. And this is something that I've noticed in my past history, and even I work with property investors and things like that too. And it's the same thing. People beat on themselves for things they didn't do and don't acknowledge the great things they are doing. It's people say, oh, I only did this, or I just did that. If you just made it through the day, sometimes that's enough. With everything that's happening right now, I'm one of these people that encourages people to take control of their destiny, to take control of how they're feeling, and go and take action. Use this time that's been gifted to us, to go and do things that we maybe were procrastinating on before, right? But the thing is, at the same time, sometimes just making it through the day is an achievement, because life is not always, although we talk about like the power of the mind and the power of positive focus, and you can control your feelings and thoughts and all. At the same time, life is challenging, right? And this is the challenge. This is like one of the ultimate challenges of high performers is, how can we stop giving ourselves such a hard time? And my answer to that is, you acknowledge the work that you're doing. Just acknowledge it. People are so focused on looking towards, what they're looking to achieve, their goals, and they're looking at what they're doing or not doing to get there, that they forget to look back and think, holy shit, how far have I actually come? Like, I found myself guilty of this many times before, and if you're like me, you'll probably have experienced this too, is you're so focused on that big thing out there that you're working towards that you actually forget to reflect. Hindsight's powerful. You forget to reflect on, holy shit, how far have you come in that space of time, right? And this is one of the most powerful things that you can do, is acknowledge the things that you do well. Because what you reward yourself with is what gets repeated, right? So if you acknowledge the decisions and the actions that you've taken have gotten you to where you are right now, well, then those things are going to get repeated when you go to move forward. And at the same time, we always put so much pressure on ourselves, right? Again, I work with quite a few high-level people, and what I find is they always put pressure on themselves. But sometimes you just gotta take the foot off the gas pedal and just learn to slow things down, right? You gotta learn to slow things down. You gotta learn to adjust that accelerator pedal just enough so that when you feel that feeling of overwhelm, this is how overwhelm and burnout happens, right? High performers believe that they need to keep going because they have an expectation from themselves that they always keep going, that they don't stop, because they want to achieve that big goal. And the reality is, if you put that much pressure, that much expectation, and you don't acknowledge your own achievements and what you are doing daily, weekly, monthly, annually, you will burn out. And it'll get to the point where you'll say, why the fuck am I doing this? So what I'm going to share with you very quickly is a couple of quick strategies on how you can deal with this. Number one, acknowledge your achievements. Journaling, powerful way of doing that. Maybe meditation, maybe some writing down, like journaling, some kind of reflective exercise, some kind of reflection that will enable you to look back and think of, holy shit, I've actually managed to do these things. Because I did this quite recently. I reflected back on my life and I was actually really surprised at some of the things I'd forgotten about that I'd done, right? Like, for example, a skydive. Completely forgot that I've done a skydive before. Me previously having a fear of heights. I've forgotten all about that quite recently until I'd done this process. When you look back, you can gain so much more power because you're using those past experiences as leverage to jump and move forward. And then second of all is give yourself a fucking break, right? Stop demanding yourself to be at optimum performance, to be at your best every single day, because I can tell you right now, the best in the world, the best thought leaders, the best speakers, the best motivators, the best coaches, the best of anything, do not always be at their best. Because you're human, my friend. I'm human. We have to learn to look after ourselves. So my second suggestion is that you learn to step off the gas pedal, or the fuel pedal, depending on where you're listening from, and put on the brakes every once in a while. Slow things down, right? Stop demanding and expecting that you go out and change the world in a day or overnight like that, because it doesn't happen. I was actually speaking with a friend of mine, he's a doctor, and he said, the pursuit of mastery at anything, if anybody wants to get good at anything, they need to spend 3 to 5 years, at least they need to be committed to 3 to 5 years of something, right? And he's a doctor, and he says, if anyone wants to be a doctor, you have to commit at least 10 years of your life before you even get certified fully to be able to go and do that career. And it's the same. Remove expectation. Be realistic about what you can achieve. Acknowledge your actions. And then take care of yourself. And I share some of this in my book, Seize Your Day. I share about strategies around how you can look after yourself. Are you training yourself every day? Are you looking after your body? Are you fueling yourself correctly? Are you looking after your relationship? Because if you're always go in one foundational area of your life, like your business or your career, well, what's going to happen to the rest? So remove the expectation. Look after yourself. And really, honestly, please acknowledge the value that you give to people in your life. Give yourself the gift of acknowledging your own achievements. And I can promise you that if you start doing this more in your life, you'll start to see some radical changes and you'll stop being so hard on yourself. Be soft. You can be disciplined, but don't beat yourself up whenever you say, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Because that's in the past. All that you can do now is change what you're doing forward. Don't beat yourself up, my friend. Give yourself the credit that you deserve and you'll see some change in your life. Have a wonderful day.